Alright folks, so here at Jessica in Wisconsin. Today I'll be making some tamales. My recipe happens to be from Querétaro, Mexico. So every region in Mexico has their own way to make their own tamales. This is just my recipe. So for my tamales, I will be using some of the masa, which is corn tortilla mix. This is actually pretty good. It's actually really, really good, and I recommend it. But you can use, if you can get the corn that is natural 100%, you can definitely do that too. I will be using a little bit of royal, which is baking powder, and also a little bit of salt. Obviously, because my tamales, I will be using a little bit of lard, and it is 1 quart of lard, just to give a heads up. And it is natural 100%. So this is how I'm gonna make my tamales, just to give a heads up. All right, the masa is already inside. As you can see, I will be using my mixer machine. For my masa, I will be using maybe half a spoon of baking powder, just to give a heads up. Masa is already mixing with a baking soda. So the reason I do that is because it is dry, so that way all of the baking powder is mixed in with the masa. At this point, you can put a little bit of salt too. Salt is gonna be to your taste, but obviously you want enough salt that is gonna be good for your tamal, just to give a heads up, folks, okay? These ones are gonna be beef tamales. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of beef bouillon. This is dried already, so it's just to give a little more flavor to your masa. So I'm gonna use 1 good spoon. That will bring a lot of flavor to your masa, so just to give a heads up. And everything is dry, just so we don't make a mess, just to give a heads up. That's why I'm doing it this way. We're gonna go ahead and start putting the manteca little by little, so that way you don't make a mess. There you go. We got the sauce finally ready. As you can see, my pan has the salsa. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. And you want to add it slowly. Remember that this is gonna be the flavor to your masa. They're gonna be my red tamales, just to give a heads up. My masa has been mixing for the last half an hour. As you probably know, I added a little bit of beef juice, meaning beef broth, just to enhance the flavor to the masa. You can see how fluffy that is now, so that means that it's coming up to being ready. I know a lot of people like to do a glass of water and they put a little masa inside. If it sinks, that means that it's not ready. If it floats, that means that your masa is ready. Myself, I can just tell by looking at the masa. So if you notice, my masa is nice and fluffy. So if I go on the side, see how fluffy that is? That means that your masa is ready. It's not sticking to my fingers or anything. This means that my red masa is ready for my tamales. This is how, I can just tell that it's ready. But see, it's nice and fluffy, so our tamales are gonna be really good. Just wanted to share that with you guys. So it has been about half an hour mixing. I added a little bit of beef broth, just to give a heads up to maintain the flavor. And you can tell that the masa is ready, okay? So just wanted to touch bases and let you know. Making red tamales, which is beef. For my beef, I'm gonna make it like a barbacoa style, so that way you guys know how I'm gonna be making my barbacoa. For my barbacoa beef, I will be using 1 can of tomato sauce. I will be using puya pepper. Puya pepper is it's mild, not that spicy, just to give a heads up. I will be using bay leaves, this much. I will be using cinnamon. I'll be using cumin, some black pepper, garlic, and onion. And also I'm gonna be using 1 chicken bouillon. Salt is gonna be up to your taste, guys. Since this recipe is gonna be for my tamales, I will be making it a little bit saltier because the masa is going to require for us to be able to have the to have a little more extra flavor. So once you start making the tamales, the flavor will go throughout the tamal. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, making barbacoa. And yes, I'm making barbacoa for my tamales, but this barbacoa, you can make it like for any time in your life. You can just make some beans, rice. You can definitely use this recipe for not just tamales, but for everything else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Jessica in Wisconsin. I'm gonna be letting the meat sit for about 4 hours. And we'll come back in 4 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again. And thank you for watching us here at Jessica in Wisconsin. Decent looking guy, but he just is such a bozo. Yeah, he is. Like how he ended up with a good looking wife and his daughters are beautiful. Oh. They're all blondes. I mean, natural blondes too. Of course, he had light hair, but hey, Sinna, you found some sun. Yeah, interesting. They always like, they have this look to the different major players, it seems like. It has been about 4 hours, more or less, so this meat is definitely done already. I took it out of the slow cooker, and look at how soft that is. So this is gonna be my meat for my tamales, obviously, but just to give a heads up, you can also eat them like in tacos. You can also get some rice and beans, and you can put it on the side. So this is a dish on its own, just to give a heads up, folks, okay? But see how tender that is, and it smells and tastes really good. So that is my recipe for the slow cooker. For your red tamales, you can put it, myself personally, I like to put a lot of goodies in my tamal, meaning like beef or chicken or pork, whatever that is. But I also like to get some veggies in it too. So like in this case, I will be using, obviously, barbacoa beef, which is the one that we made. And on top of barbacoa, I will be using potato. I got my potatoes sliced here like French fried. I'm gonna put an olive, and I'm going to have a pepper in there too. This is optional. Myself personally, I think it's just great. It brings a lot of flavor to your tamal, but obviously if you don't like any olives or any peppers, you don't have to put it in. It's just an option. This is called a tamalera pot because right here you can put the water, everything is steam. So if you notice here on the bottom, you got something like that, obviously. You put water and everything is gonna be cooked by steam. And right here you can just keep putting water just in case that it keeps going down. So you can see it physically. So this pot I bought in Los Angeles when I used to live in Los Angeles. So this pot has been with me for many, many, many years. And every time I make tamales, I make it in my tamalera. So here we are, and this is the next step. We're gonna start fixing our tamales in here. You use some of these husks on the bottom, so that way your tamales will not get wet or soaking wet or anything like that. So I like to put some of these ones on the bottom. I recommend them just to give a heads up. I don't know who came up with that, but I grew up that way. I still do it, and tamales come out really good. So just put a few leaves on the bottom. You can have 2 labels of tamales. That will be okay. You just want to make sure that all of your tamales are really well cooked. There you go. This is the way I do it. These ones are going to be probably just sitting down because it's way too many tamales. I didn't realize how many tamales we're going to get. It's a lot of them. So once all your tamales are inside, you can definitely just cover with a husk, like I'm doing now. Since everything is going to be done with just steam, I like to put a little plastic bag like this one here on the top, so it retains all of the steam from coming out, so that way your tamales can be well cooked. Just FYI, okay? That's what I do. On top of that, I put a towel like this, so it retains all of the steam. And now we're gonna start cooking our tamales. Here we go. That's been about 1.5 hours. Actually 1 hour and 45 minutes. So you can stir, you can smell the product already. So it smells really good. It smells like tamal. So I'm gonna check on these tamales and see how they look. So 1 hour, I usually leave them for 2 hours just to give a heads up. And it's all cooking by steam. Try my red tamales today. Just remember, if the tamal is ready to go, the husk is not going to stick to the tamal as you see here. So that means that my tamal is ready. It smells delicious. And for my red tamales, I made a little bit of red sauce on the side. So it is time to try our tamal. As you know, I made that red sauce from the barbacoa when I made that in the slow cooker. These tamales smell really good, folks, and I'm sure they're gonna taste so well. See how that is. Gotta give it a shot on these tamales, folks. It tastes really good. It is really good. So flavorful, so good. So tasty. So thank you for watching, Jessica in Wisconsin. Thank you for subscribing to our channels once again, and we'll see you next time, folks. I hope you guys like my red tamales recipe. And they are so good. They're barbacoa, so it's like, yummy. Very tasty. We'll see you next time.